Hi guys, this is Robert Rivera, and this is the weekly recap. I think this is weekly recap number 21, where we review the trades of the week and we discuss what happened and then go into next week and see what we can project may happen. And there's some interesting things. I mean, GBP has been dropping significantly due to the news with Brexit. UK is threatening to break away from the European Union's agreement as far as Brexit is concerned. And there's a lot of confusion and indecision in the market. And basically, they have devalued the pound, and it keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. I only sent 3 setups tonight, last night. I mean, this week. I had one that I created for Monday that dropped 102 pips, but we're not counting that one. And then I had one for Friday also, which I deleted because of the but it was a news. There was a whole bunch of news. I still traded it, but in the end, I only have 3 setups to talk about, 4 which created trades. And so let's go into it right now. Let's see. Let's start with, first of all, I got to share the screen. Okay, let's share this screen. There you go. All right, and we'll start with this one, GU on the 8th. There you go. And let's open this up. You guys told me last time that you're gonna need to see it. Okay, basically we're looking at a consolidation once it had dropped, and this had been dropping again since last week. And we have a golden zone above. We have the consolidation happening right here. And for those of you who are brand new, basically we're looking for an area where price transitions from trending into consolidation. Once we have that transition, then we can box it in and wait to see if it's going to break to the top or to the bottom. And let's see what we got. See, I can't open it all the way up because then I got to do this over again. This is what we ended up with. Let me go ahead and open it a little bit, at least you guys can see it better, right? Let me go ahead and move this over here and move this up this way, and perhaps you guys can see that better, right? Okay, that way I can see both things at the same time. All right, so this is the result. It broke, retested slightly right there on the bottom, and it dropped forever, creating another transition down here. We're gonna box that up again. But in the meantime, it gave 129 pips to break and retest and 0 drawdown. This was a beautiful break, and after, you know, it created a lot more consolidation before the break. That was a nice little setup, gave 129 pips. You're gonna see, I mean, the average per pip this week was ridiculous. Okay, let's go into the next day. The next day is the 9th. This is what we ended up with the 9th. And again, it dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped, created a little consolidation. This is a consolidation for the night before. It dropped still more, created another little consolidation. This was actually real easy right here, looking really nice. And this is what we ended up with. Let's open that a little more. There you go. We actually had a break, initial break. This is the one that I took. I took this breakout and I was done. Then it retested. It never broke above the zone. I realized that it never went back above the zone. It retested somewhere in here, all these little touches. Finally, it broke to the bottom, gave 70 pips. I gave you here a 0 to 10 pip drawdown depending on when you entered here, right? I mean, as always, we wait for the wick. We wait for that wick to create to give us a rejection. Perhaps you took this wick over here, thinking it might go down. So for that purpose, let's say 0 to 10 pip drawdown right there, and then we ended up with and then it broke to the top. This was a lot nicer to take, right? It broke to the top, retested, and went up. It retested here a couple times, but it still went up to the trend line. For 47 pips with 0 drawdown. That was also very nice. On the 10th, and this is the one on which I got cooked. I got cooked in this one. And this was my bad. This was my wrongdoing. I set this up and sent it out, what was that? Kind of early. It was almost 11 o'clock at night. And I laid down to take a nap, and I thought I was wake up around 1 o'clock. I woke up at 2. So when I come to the market, it already broke to the top. And now I'm trying to catch a retest or another subsequent break to the top. And I was just not in the right mindset. My mind was completely completely off. I kept trying to catch these moves. This is the move that I had already done. This is the move I had already done, and then it came back down. And now I'm trying to catch this next subsequent breakout. Attempted, nothing. Attempted, nothing. Attempted, nothing. And finally, it broke to the bottom. I had to close my trade when it broke down here. And of course, I was so out of it, you know, because it was a big loss. I was so out of it that I didn't really pay attention to the fact that it was just simply breaking the bottom, retesting, and going down. I could have taken this down, and I would have made my money back significantly. 205 pips with a perhaps 8 pip drawdown, depending on when you entered here, right? This is the wick that we look for. So nobody should have really gotten any drawdown there, but still, just in case you entered somewhere in here and it went still further up, retesting the 50, and it came down for 205 pips. So we have a total of 451 pips on 3 setups, but 4 trades. And that averages out to 113 pips per trade with a total of 18 pip drawdown. I had 8 here, but I didn't count the other 10. So 18 pip drawdown with 451 pips from the setups. This is why we encourage you to always take the setup, guys. It is, I guess it's the easiest way really for a new trader to start gaining money while you're learning. If you're taking the, and my encouragement to everybody is to wait for the retest. Every single one of these retested. Yeah, every single one of these retested. And for 450 pips, man. And every one of the retests was, again, one had an 8 pip drawdown. You can manage that. Another one had a 10 pip drawdown. You can manage that. And it gave 450 pips. The retest is where it's at, guys. I mean, for those of you who are brand new, if you're a breakout trader, don't do like me. If you're a breakout trader and you missed out the breakout, you missed out the breakout. You missed out the breakout. Okay. In my case, I've been doing a retest. I've been doing the breakout for several months now and doing very well with it. And I missed my move. That's the bottom line. I missed my move. I should have just waited until I got something more solid. But again, I don't know what was going on in my mindset. I was completely off. Horrible, horrible day. So the next day, I don't have it here, but the next day I still set up, even though it was news, I set up, I sent out a setup and then I recanted. But I did take it. I did take that one. And I took this move, the move that I always take. I took this move and I made my 11 or so pips and I was done because I was only going to do one trade and get back into my discipline. And sure enough, it did the same thing as the night before. It broke up and then it dropped to the bottom. It did the exact same setup, except it just didn't break all the way down. In fact, it broke down and it stayed here within, which you're going to see now as I go into the trades of the week. Let's go right into it. Let's see, where is it? There you go. Let's go into GBP USD. Let's go right into it. This is the bigger picture of GBP USD. I have shared this before in the other weekly setups. This trend line had been respected since 2014, but it now broke with the news and everything that's happening. It broke below it. I was counting on catching the bounce up, and it's going to have a bounce. I mean, once the news is resolved, once Brexit, the whole thing is resolved, it's going to have a bounce up, and it may be dramatic for as much as it has dropped. This is where it's at now, guys. This is where it's at now. This is that trend line, right? That's that famous trend line from forever. And so that's a very important trend line. That's a weekly trend line from 2014. It crossed below it, and now to climb above it, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle. But this is the setup as I have it right now. I could adjust these, but this is the setup that I have it right now looking into Sunday tomorrow. You can make note of those zones and make your own analysis. The reason why line is all the way up here and not at the wicks is because there's a pivot right there. Okay, so there's a pivot right there, which is why I have it there. But it's 70 some pips from here to the next pivot point, and it's 47 or so pips up to the next pivot point. So it's a nice little setup. Volatility has increased, by the way, on GBP again. For those of you who don't know, I mean, this used to be something like 8 pips. This right now, it is 38 pips. So volatility has increased, which means we can make our money faster, but you can also lose money really fast. Just be aware of that. Okay, that's something to pay attention to and be careful with. Okay, so that's GU. Let's take a look at GN. GN has gone back. Oops. GN has gone back to its trend line. Again, this is the weekly. This is the weekly, and this has been going on for quite a long time, since 2016. It has been in this channel. All right. I called this drop, this initial drop, several weeks ago, down to the trend line, down to the channel, bottom channel, and then I called the uprise up to the 800 or so pips up here to the 50 moving average. Then I told you guys, I think it was a couple weeks ago, what was that, 4 weeks ago, that this was the zone that I could reject that. It came almost to it, and then it rejected. And of course, because of what's going on with the news and everything, it came right back down to the channel. Could it break that channel? Well, it hasn't broken it since 2016. It's not likely that it's going to break. You may see candles close below here on the, did it close on the daily? Let's see if there's any closes on the daily below it. There's at least one close there below on the daily, and then it climbed right back up. Just notice that it's violent. The move up is always violent when it touches there. So we could see a move up. There's also that W that you guys like to see forming here. So there's a very likely a move up to that zone before it starts moving up to the upper channel line. But like Joe says, we could buy from here, I suppose. It's perfect location to start going up. Just realize that the news right now has it very bearish. Okay, it's very bearish, and it's below the 50 moving average on the daily. On the weekly, obviously, also it can move up though. It'll probably move up to somewhere in here. I would not hold it past that. If you're gonna buy here, I would not hold it past that. Okay, I would count on it stopping somewhere in there. There's also another zone somewhere in here that it could stop at, and it's at a very important zone right now. Let's go ahead and do that so you guys can see it real clearly. I mean, this is an important zone right here. You know, if you check how price reacted there, okay, how it's reacted below, how it reacted above. So there is a strong possibility that it will bounce from there. That's just, again, potential. If it breaks down below, I wouldn't count on going too much further down, again, because of how much it has respected it. As you can tell here, it went all the way up above the channel, but it came right back down. Like Joe says, you know, we don't really look at those things, those aberrations. We're looking for the normal move, which is likely to happen, which is the bounce here and on up. I would look for it to perhaps break here, create some sort of support here, back up, and then start moving up. When it comes back up, which is what I'll do, by the way, I'm not going to take a buy here. I will wait for it to come all the way down here. Let's see if it bounces here, and when it climbs up back above the trend line, then take it. Okay, those are my thoughts on that. Let's see what I got. GBP Canada. GBP Canada is ranging once again. It was ranging for a long time. Then it broke out, broke above the trend line that it had here from forever back. Also, you know, this trend line was broken, and it's still above it. By the way, it's still above it. But the real situation here is the consolidation. It's still consolidating. Okay. It did break below this support. It could still come further down, and that's many pips, by the way, guys. If it drops from there to the bottom of that, that's 200 and some pips. So a line of support could be created there, and then play it like we always play everything else. And lastly, you're going to go into gold. Gold went through a nice head and shoulders. Okay, it created a nice head and shoulders, but it's right at support. Okay, it's right at support. So let's see. If it breaks and retests, drop it. I mean, the head and shoulders is there, right? The head and shoulders are there. But then again, GU had a head and shoulder, and it did not work. GU did this move, and then when it got here, it just dropped. And it went on forever, all right? But on gold, my understanding is that because inflation is going to be allowed to run, that gold should move up. Okay, gold should move up. It could reach 2,000. It really could. But in the meantime, we have this head and shoulders. All right. So we'll see what happens here with gold. For those of you who like to trade it, I'm not been trading it as of late because GU has become my baby, even though it betrayed me this week, but still. All right. Let me go ahead and stop the share. Again, this is Robert Rivera with Trend Training Academy, and I hope that you guys got value from this. Let me know if you want anything included in the weekly recap that it's not being done right now, and perhaps you find this valuable. Certainly, you should be back testing the strategy that you're using so that you can gain confidence in it, and then reviewing what happened. This is what I do, these reviews. I do them for me, but then I decided to make these videos so that you guys can benefit from it, and then also what we could be looking forward to next week. Again, I hope you found value in it. God bless you.